Welcome back to another episode of the Players, Pars, and Pints podcast. And now, here is your host, Ryan Watts.
All right, welcome to another edition of Players, Pars, and Pints, brought to you by the Barracks Golf Course in Plattsburgh, New York. You can find us on Facebook. Grab a tea time, 518-566-7150. Today, guys, we have a very interesting guest. This man has so many layers to him, it's actually unbelievable. Sort of matches his stage name, if you will. From Massachusetts, the one and only master impersonator, singer, comedian, Joey Voices. Joey, how are you, man?
Wow, this is Al Pacino, or should I say, Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade. Hoo-ah, wow. How are you, Brian?
I am doing great, Joey. It is such a pleasure to have you, man. It's, a huge fan. Have watched, your show on YouTube and just to catch up and do some research. Absolutely incredible, man. It's,
thank you.
It is absolutely, I think people have to check it out, and definitely a good time will be had by all for sure, man. So,
yeah, I appreciate you saying that, man. It's, yeah, I love what I do. I've been doing it for a long time. I've been mimicking the radio since I was a kid. And I went out to Vegas in 2000, and I saw a guy named Danny Gans, and he's deceased now. He died in 2009. But he was called the man of many voices. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I've been doing that since I was a kid. I've been mimicking the radio since I was little. And this guy's making money doing it. So I came home to Boston and started my own show. I've been doing it 22 years professionally.
Wow.
And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a good ride, you know?
That's incredible. So I guess we rewind a little bit. So you're from Massachusetts basically your entire life, right? You grew up there?
Yeah, I grew up in Malden, Massachusetts.
Malden.
The very first town in the United States to enter the Revolutionary War.
Wow.
That's a historical fact.
That is awesome. Malden
is a great little town. To Lexington.
That is phenomenal. So you grow up. Yep. Now, if I understand right, Joe, you had a pretty big family, correct?
Very good family. My dad was a lawyer. I grew up the youngest of 8 kids, and 4 boys, 4 girls. A very competitive Irish family, and a lot of good athletes in my family. I was an above-average athlete, but I wasn't as good as my brothers. But I got a different talent, you know?
Yeah.
So gave me a different talent. So, and I'm still making money with doing my talent, and they're not playing football and hockey no more. So, who won that battle?
Well, and that's it, man. I am a huge sports guy too. So passionate about sports, and you realize you see a lot of young kids today, and their parents that are pushing them, whether it's playing junior hockey, travel teams, little league, and it's like the odds on making it pro are so small, and you wonder if some of the fun is gone, for the kids today, where there's so much pressure to be good. But agreed, man. So, all right. So when is it that you sort of realize you have this talent? I mean, obviously you got, with 8 kids in the family, I mean, to be heard, you got to speak up every once in a while, right? Is that?
Yep. And that was my thing, singing. Nobody in my family, was like 100 people in my family, and nobody's musically talented to this day, even all the grandkids. Nobody got the talent that I got, so I'm grateful for that. It was definitely a special talent that God gave me. I didn't inherit it from anyone. I inherited it from God.
Wow. So that's tremendous. Did you sing like through chorus or anything that it came out, or was it just at home? How did it come to be for you?
No, I mean just singing at home, mimicking the radio. My mother would sing to me when I was little, and she would hold me in her arms and sing to me and stuff. So I just had a love for music, and music kind of moved me emotionally. Mm-hmm. As a kid, I was a sensitive little kid, and music moved me. When I heard certain songs that was sad, I didn't understand why it was making me cry. And I'm like, Mom, this song is so sad. Why is it making me cry? And I would be crying. It was just a language that I just intellectually didn't really quite understand, but I knew it made me feel good. And I always wanted to understand it, so I just did it, and I was able to sing. And over a lifetime of training, my voice just developed and got stronger, and I was able to sound like the people I was trying to mimic on the radio. And back in 2001, I ran into Gary Sharon. Gary Sharon is the lead singer of the band Extreme in the 90s. I don't know if you know that band. They wrote the song More Than Words.
Right. And legendary song. Everyone.
Legendary songs. Yeah. Yeah. So me and Neil, we know Gary. He's from our neighborhood.
Okay.
Me and Neil Mulcahy, our friend Neil.
Yeah.
And so I ran into Neil on Newbury Street in Boston. I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, And he says, "Hey, Joey, how you doing?" I said, "Hey, what's up, brother? How you been, Gary?" And he says, "I'm good." He goes, "I heard you singing." I said, "I am." He goes, "How's your voice?" I said, "It's good." He goes, "Does it get tired at times?" I go, "Yeah, the more I'm doing it," I go, the more taxing it is, and it gets tired." He goes, "Listen, here's a phone number." And he gave me a phone number. And he goes, "Call this guy. His name is Mark Baxter. He's my vocal coach. And he's also Steven Tyler's vocal coach for Aerosmith. And he travels with the band, and he's a very famous vocal instructor.
Yep.
He's got an office in L.A., New York, and here in Boston.
Yep.
You call him and you tell him that I told you to call, and he'll call you back."
Yep.
Guy called me back within 20 minutes. He said, "Yeah, man, Gary's my friend." He goes, what's going on?" He goes, "Let's set up an appointment. Come on in, and I'll show you some vocal exercises." And I went in, and I started doing vocal exercises, and it preserved my voice for 22 years.
Man, there's so much good stuff that comes out of Massachusetts, man, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the amount of talent and people, whether it's musically, athletically, some of the actors, man, it's Boston's a winning town, dude.
Boston is a winning town. I mean, look, you can't really be a winning town until you know what it's like to lose. And we knew what it was like to lose. Red Sox, 86 years, man. It's like Bruins. We didn't win a Stanley Cup since 1972, the year I was born. And then they won it in 2011 for the first time. It was like, we know what it's like to be in a drought that would kill a camel.
Yeah.
So it's like, but we're a winning town because when we win, we're starting to win. Like we're in the time in life when we're a winning town, even though we don't win every single year.
And I feel some of your pain. I am a huge Red Sox fan. So growing up in up here in upstate New York, where it's really Yankee town, being a Sox fan was tough. And I just remember 2004 when they were down 3-0. I barely watched the fourth game because I'm like, it's inevitable. I'm so sick of this shit.
The Yankees, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm so
the
sick
Yankees
of
playoff game. Dave Roberts.
Yeah, the steal.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just get to the point where you're like, I'm so sick of this shit, losing to these guys every freaking year. You know what I mean? It's like,
I know.
And then I was like a little kid again as that series went on, and it's like you're hanging on the edge of your seat every game, and just that was one of those things when they finally broke the curse, like you said. Then it was like, all right, they go on a little bit of a tear and won some more World Series, and it's like just had to go.
They won a few of them. They won like 3.
Yeah.
Since then, they won 04, 07, and 2013.
Just
2013 was kind of weird because 2012 they came in last place, dead last.
Yeah.
And the next year they won it all.
Amazing.
Which nobody was expecting that around here.
No.
Nobody.
Sure.
We were so shocked at that it was just like, wow, they actually won it again after coming in last. You don't see that very often.
No, you certainly don't, man. So
yeah.
All right, so now you have a call with vocal coach to the stars, if you will. Aerosmith,
Mm-hmm.
Stream, which is phenomenal.
The cast of Rent, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
Wow.
The list goes on and on and on. I mean, he was on MTV. Kurt Loder, when he did MTV News, he talked about him on there and how he was like, a world-renowned vocal instructor, and that like blossomed his business when he made that. It's like that's like being on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, for crying out loud,
For sure. I mean, that's like today. If you could get one of those influencers on whether it's X or Instagram or TikTok to repost one of your things, it's like suddenly it can change your life, right? There's this,
absolutely it can. 100%.
So much influence. So you kind of meet with them, you get your voice a little bit more seasoned or able to withstand the ups and downs of being
the
out
wear
there.
and tear.
The wear and tear. So as your voice is developing, you realize obviously now, hey, I'm onto something. I've got a talent. You're a funny guy. How did you kind of create?
Funny how? What do you mean funny? The way I talk? Funny how? Funny how? Funny like I'm a hey, Anthony, he's a big boy. He knows what he said. Funny how?
I love it. I love it. So what is kind of the thought process when you're putting your show together, that the Vegas type show that you do? I mean, it's obviously a awesome production, but
thank you.
I think what people don't realize is how much planning and effort goes into something like that, right? To make it come to be.
When I put it together, I just kind of felt it out musically and just saw what worked, what didn't work. And I just kind of put stuff in. I took stuff out. I've tweaked it over the years. But the nucleus of the show has always stayed the same. Like when I do Neil Diamond, I do it with a comedy twist. I'll change the lyrics around to be funny. People laugh. I get them singing along. Tom Jones, I do Tom Jones. I do a really funny Tom Jones comedy bit in my show. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Eddie Money, I do a really funny Eddie Money bit. Aging rock stars, I call it.
Yep.
And it's just really, really cool. So the nucleus of the show stays pretty much the same, but I'll add and take out a couple of things here and there. You know.
Yep.
Like I just added Mark Cohn. You know that song "Walking to Memphis"?
Yep.
I just added that to the show, and it's a big hit. Everybody loves it. You know, put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded the plane. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues in the middle of the pouring rain. So I just added that. Everybody loves it, and so I'm going to keep it. You know?
That is so awesome, man, and how you can go from your voice into one of the guys that you do. It's tremendous, man. That's such a talent.
It's a real diverse spectrum. Like I can go from that to Louis Armstrong. I see trees of green, red roses too. Joey Voice's show. I'm bringing it to you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and my voice is actually a little hoarse today because I went out last night with my girlfriend and we got at it a little bit. So
nothing wrong with that. We don't call this show Players, Pars, and Pints for nothing, right? We like to a pint on occasion as well. So
I took it to this restaurant in Burlington, Mass called the Moo. It's a steakhouse, the Moo, right?
Yep.
Perfect name for a steakhouse. And it's an upscale steakhouse restaurant bar. It's really nice. Service is great. And let me tell you, I thought it was going to be more expensive than it was because it's an upscale steakhouse.
Sure.
But it actually was very reasonable.
Oh, that's awesome.
And even though it's not as expensive as a Capitol Grill or a Davio's here in Boston, it's better. The food's just as good as Capitol Grill, if not better.
That's fantastic.
It's incredible. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. So we went out and they had great martinis. So I tried the lemon drop martini. It was fantastic. And she made it with citron.
Oh man.
She made it with 10 to 1 citron, which was different because you don't make a lemon drop martini with citron.
Right.
But she added citron vodka in there. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. I couldn't believe it, how good it was.
Wow.
So we got at it a little bit, and I came home early, but you wake up sometimes and you get a little hoarse. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think you continue on the theme. I mean, you're just bragging with Boston more now, man. Like it's a winning town sports-wise, and then the food is incredible, right, man?
Food's incredible. Seafood, the steak, forget it.
Yeah.
So the big restaurants in Boston, they'll do seafood and steak, a combination. And that's what's huge. That's what's different about Boston restaurants because we're known for our seafood, but we're also known for our steak.
Yeah.
You know, Texas is obviously known for their steak.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Boston is too. And steak and seafood is like a surf and turf, they call it.
Yeah. Yep.
So a lot of these restaurants become surf and turf restaurants. And then you have the Italian restaurants, and they specialize just in Italian.
Yeah.
So nobody does Italian like Boston. I've been to Chicago. I've been in New York. Nobody does Italian like the North End, Little Italy in Boston. You come to Boston, go to the North End, go to Little Italy.
There is no doubt. My daughter happens to attend Boston University, and when I visited her, the one thing she was like, "Dad, we have to go to the North End and have some Italian." So we did, and
Hanover Street.
Yeah, just walking along some of those tiny streets, man, in Boston, and the vibe and the feel.
Paul Revere lived there.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
Paul Revere, where Paul Revere's house was there.
That is so cool. Such a historic.
It's incredible.
It is, man. And it's and she's so like she was walking on campus when she gets up in the morning to go to class. She's walking in the Prudential buildings in her view. That's what she's seeing when she's walking to class.
I know. True.
How freaking cool is
I get people. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So I have a black car service I do here in Boston, and it's called Executive Ride. And so I drive people. I have a black Tahoe, and I drive private clients. And so, I'll have some people. I'll pick up clients, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah." I go out. It says I'm taking you to the Pru. and they don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, the potential, because they're from out of town. It's like
right.
It's funny because everybody in Boston knows it's the Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So back to your show. So you you've worked on it for years. You've taken some stuff in and out. So do you have like a set routine, like show day? Is there a mindset where you start to get to like, oh man, I'm on in an hour, I'm on in half an hour. Like is your day sort of structured, or you just kind of
from the moment I wake up?
Yeah,
I'm in that mode.
Okay.
Like I do my vocal exercises. I hydrate. I drink a ton of water.
Mm-hmm.
I do my vocal exercises leading up. A week leading up, I go into overdrive in my vocal exercises to strengthen my voice.
Yep.
And then, the day of the show, I'm just strictly in mind, like my show. What do I have to do? I check my checklist. I get prepared. And once I'm on the stage, I'm on the stage. Once it's like that first hit in hockey.
Yeah.
That first, you get the butterflies, but once you get on the ice and you collide with that kid for the first time, that first hit, boom, it wakes you right up. Once I get on stage, I'm on stage, and boom, I'm woken up.
Yeah.
My adrenaline takes over, and boom, I'm in a different mode.
Yeah. And all the preparation at that point, you've prepared well, so you're just ready to.
Yeah, it just takes over.
Just to have some fun, man. Right? So.
Yeah. And they love it. I tell jokes. I tell stories. I do impressions with comedy twists. It's a musical act for the most part, But
yeah.
Like I do like Al Green. Al Green.
Yep.
The Reverend Al Green.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is all right with me. 'Cause you make me feel so brand new. So that's Al Green. We got Boss Gags. Remember Boss Gags?
Yeah. That's so cool.
He's like, baby's in a run around, ain't with the crowd, but your business in the street, talking out loud, saying you bought this and that, how much you done spent. I swear she must believe it's all ever said. That low down. Boss Gags. I love Boss Gags. I'm a huge Boss Gags guy. Michael McDonald from the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting we're not in love anymore. I keep forgetting things will never be the same again. Michael McDonald.
That is so good, man. That is so spot on. So when you're kind of going through, and obviously for our listeners, you can pick out, retro show. You and I are both around the same age, so I think it's such a classic time in music, right? So never goes out of style. So as you have some of your favorites, do you sort of, how long does it take you to prep to be able to hit that voice?
So some impressions take longer than others. You got to keep in mind, I've been doing this since I was a little kid. Yeah. So a lot of these I've been practicing my whole life.
Yeah.
It's not like I just, I think I'll just try that. I've been doing Michael McDonald since I was young. Like I love Michael McDonald,
Yeah.
But like the hardest impression I had to learn was Louis Armstrong until I tried to do Donald Trump. And Donald Trump was the hardest impression for me to do. It took me 8 years to get him.
Oh, wow.
8 years.
Yeah.
And now my buddy won't let me down. Every time I go out with my buddies, they're like, do Trump. And I'm like, oh, come on. I don't want to do. People are going to give me daggers. They're going to look at me sideways. I don't care. Just do it. Do Trump. So I'm like, Donald J. Trump, your favorite president. Have you heard of him? Okay, believe me. We love Bobby Kennedy. We call him Bobby. Okay, we love Bobby. Believe me. We're making America healthy again. Okay, healthier than ever before. Believe me. Okay, believe me. And I call that old Trump. Old tired Trump.
Old tired Trump. That's so.
Old tired Trump. Yeah.
That's so funny, man. That's so good. So.
But I had to learn which Trump I could do better. And I'm like, okay, tired Trump sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
And I can do tired Trump. When he's up on the stage and he's just talking. You want to hear the snake? I can do the snake. You want to hear the snake? On her way to work one morning, okay? Down along the lake, a poor, tender-hearted woman. And he starts talking about the snake poem and stuff. It's really funny. It's good. But I love doing it. It's funny. And I can go on a tangent with that. Like, we love Elon, okay? Elon Musk, believe me, we love Musk. We call him Elon, okay? Muskrat love. And I'll just start doing play on words with, like, the last thing that he says, I'll do a play on words with something else, and it goes into something else. It's really
man.
funny.
That
and people start cracking up laughing. It's really good.
that is so good, man. So
we go out drinking some night, I'll do it, and you'll be dying laughing.
we're gonna make that happen. Neil and I will definitely make a trip to Boston, and we'll
good. Maybe I'll come up there and perform at the Strand Theater.
I'm thinking so. We know some people, so we're gonna try to set that up. I think this show would be awesome up here. I think
it would too, and it's clean.
Yeah.
So if you got the older folks that come out, my show's clean. I don't swear on my show. I don't have to. It doesn't have to be filtered to be funny.
Right. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. So as the show progresses, I mean, do you ever get to a point where you're like, oh shit, I don't know if I have this voice in me tonight, or again, you're just so well prepared that it just flows naturally.
So if I have a slight cold or something, I'll know if I can do something. I can feel it. I'll go through my routine before the show backstage to see if I can hit certain things. And if I can't, I'll just leave it out.
Yeah.
I can leave it out. I get so much material, I can just leave it out.
Yeah. That's so.
And which is good. And people don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I do like Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, Rodney Dangerfield. Hey, I tell you, it's me, Rodney, and boy, have I got a problem. Hey, I tell you, I tell you, I get no respect. I tell you, no respect at all. Yeah, my wife and I, we were happy for 20 years. Yeah, then we met.
That is so cool, man. It's such a tremendous show. So obviously, those of you out there listening, man, you got to check it out. I mean, you're getting a piece of it here, and you can tell just how good it is.
Yeah, they go to joeyvoices.com, Brian.
Okay.
joeyvoices.com. They can see my highlight reel video preview, and there's also an interview of me on the TV show Chronicle. Okay. It's up here in Boston. It's the biggest TV show in Boston.
Yeah.
And they did a story on my career over 21 years last August. And it was a really good interview. The girl, really did a good job. She interviewed me for 90 minutes.
Wow.
Cut it down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And it was a very powerful interview.
Well, there you go.
Most powerful 2 minutes and 20 seconds of my career.
So that's awesome. You guys heard it. joeyvoices.com. Check it out. And as we were saying, as we were doing the intro with you, man, you're a man of so many layers. So we've definitely hit on the show, which we've got to get people to check out. But you've also a couple of things that I think a lot of people might not know about you is you've been an author and you're a seminary graduate, right? I mean,
I am a seminary graduate. I went to theological seminary.
Yep.
I got a contract to go to Vegas, and I didn't like the contract because they wanted me to do all the work, and they wanted to make all the money.
Yep.
So my dad was a lawyer. My dad was a criminal lawyer, and he was a very smart man, and he did a lot of contract law and things. He did it all as a lawyer, but mostly he was a trial lawyer. So he was excellent at criminal law. He was a cop before that. That's why.
Okay.
And he saw both sides of the law, and he just had a really deep insight and understanding of human nature and whatever. But anyways, he taught me about contracts. And I looked at the contract. I says, well, I don't like that, and I don't like that. So I highlighted in yellow marker the things I didn't like.
Yep.
And I wrote in what I thought was fair. And I sent the contract back, and I said, now it's a fair contract. And the lawyer looked at it, and she goes, this is unacceptable. I said, well, then you have a good life.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yep.
And that was the end of it.
Yep.
And I ended up going to theological seminary instead. And it wasn't a Catholic seminary. It was a non-denominational theological seminary.
Okay.
Where in the Catholic seminary, the textbook, the textbooks that they use are books written by other people. So it's those people's opinions on what they think, about Catholicism and what they're teaching about theology. Our textbook is the King James Bible.
Okay.
So we learn that there's no greater interpreter of Scripture than Scripture itself. And Scripture harmonizes. So if you come to an irreparable breach between two sets of Scriptures, it's not the Scripture that's contradicting itself. It's your understanding of it. You're misunderstanding it. And then if you just pray about it, if you keep reading, you'll find the harmony on what you're trying to learn about that particular theological subject, whether it be baptism or marriage or whatever, communion, whatever you're trying to understand with those scriptures, and the theological definition of those, you'll understand it. The Holy Spirit will teach you. That's what we learned. And I learned that 7 years. I went 7 years. I got a master's degree.
Wow.
And my pastor, my seminary professor, he had 4 doctorates in theology. Most pastors have 1. He had 4. He was eccentric. He was on the board of presbyters for Southwest Bible College for 30 years. And he opened his own seminary, and I was a grateful recipient of that knowledge from him. And I earned a bachelor's and master's degree from him.
Very impressive. So you complete that, and you come out, and obviously now your mindset is probably a little different. It's probably you got a clearer picture maybe of what you want to do, and you're feeling good, right? I would guess.
I was feeling great. I ended up having a radio show called the Joey Voices Radio Show. It was on a radio station here in Boston, and I started talking about all these principles that Jesus taught. And I met this girl who I dated for 7 years. I was ultimately engaged to her, and then that didn't work out, and I moved on. But when I met her, she said, man, she goes, have you ever seen the movie The Secret? And I said, no, I haven't. She goes, well, everything you're saying is in that movie. It's the law of attraction. I said, wait a minute. So I started watching this movie, and everything they were saying, I'm like, wait a minute, Jesus said that. And Jesus said that. And Jesus said that. And I saw the parallels between the principles of the law of attraction and the principles that Jesus taught. And I said, there's something here. So I studied it further and deeper, and I started studying quantum physics, quantum entanglement. And I started to understand why when let's say you're thinking about somebody that you haven't seen in 3 years, and all of a sudden they call you on the phone like 10 minutes later, and you would call that ESP, extrasensory perception. Well, what I learned by studying quantum entanglement was that there's a science behind it, and it's called quantum entanglement. That once you entangle yourself with somebody and then you separate, you're never really separated. And so when your name comes up and you start talking, your friend starts talking about you, fondly to somebody else and explaining who you are and what you're about to them, that person pops into your head because they're lighting up the other end of the connection they have with you on a subatomic level, and that's the spirit world. So spiritually, you're connected. So when somebody's talking fondly about you and lovingly about you, you start thinking about them in that exact moment, whether you realize it or not. And case in point, I had a friend named Ursula. Now, I hadn't seen Ursula in about 6 months, heard from her or anything. And my buddy is married to this woman who has a sister named Ursula that I went to school with that I happen to know. And I asked him, I go, hey, how's Ursula doing? And it's just a different Ursula. And I said, he goes, oh, she's doing good, blah, blah, blah. And I go, what a unique name. And I started telling him about my friend Ursula from Marshfield, where I was living on the South Shore when I was in school. And as I'm talking about her, my phone rings, and it's Ursula. It's the one from Marshfield.
Wow.
That I'm talking about in the moment. She calls me. Now, we were drinking. We were in a bar, so I couldn't answer the phone because it was loud.
Yeah.
So I let her go to voicemail. Well, I listened to the voicemail, and the voicemail said, hey, buddy, it's me, Ursula. She says, I was just thinking about you, and I just wanted to call you and see how you're doing. Call me back.
That's incredible, right?
No, that's not ESP. I had just started studying quantum entanglement at that time. So I understood what had happened.
Wow.
And how I caused her to call me. By the cause and effect says you can cause an effect. The law of cause and effect says that you have the ability to cause an effect.
That's
without even being in someone's presence, you can cause them to call you. They're not always going to pick the phone up and call you, but they're definitely going to be thinking about you in the moment that you're talking about them. And that's why when somebody says to you, you're in my thoughts and prayers, that's a very powerful statement, isn't it?
Sure is. Sure is.
Like when someone dies, and they say, listen, I'm sorry for your loss. You're in my thoughts and prayers. We would dismiss that normally because, you're in my thoughts. Yeah, whatever, whatever. But that's a very powerful thing when someone says that to you. Because when somebody's praying for you and they're thinking fondly of you and lovingly about you, you're going to feel that whether you realize it or not.
That's incredible. Is that aligned with where you have, like you said, people that were maybe super close friends, you lose touch for 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, and then when you get together, maybe you bump into them at a restaurant, you pick up like you didn't miss a day, right? Is that sort of along those same lines?
I'm friends with one of those guys right now.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, in my book, I read a chapter. The chapter's called Michael, and it's about this kid Michael that I grew up with, that I'm very good friends with now. I saved his life when we were 8 years old.
Okay.
He got hit by a car, and everybody was standing around and saying, he's dead. And I rode my bike up the top of the hill. I ran up, and I couldn't ride my bike anymore because he lived on a steep hill. And I ran to the top of the hill, and I got his mother. And they ran down, and they brought him to the hospital. And he always credited me with saving his life. I said, I just ran because you did the right thing while everybody else stood around. Yeah. He goes, but when we got older in elementary school, I used to pick on him because I got picked on at home. Like, I grew up in a big house, and my brother and sister used to kick my ass every day.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And I took that into school, and I used to pick on Michael. And regrettably, believe me, I was a kid, and I didn't know any better. But
yeah.
Anyways, my mother wanted to go to Walgreens. Now, fast forward to 2004. We were like 11, 12 years old when I picked on him.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 2024. Now, that was 1984. Okay?
Yep.
When I was 12. Fast forward 20 years, 2004. My mother says, I need you to take me to Walgreens. So I said, okay. So I took a nap one afternoon. And while I was taking a nap, I had a dream about Michael. Now, I hadn't seen Michael or heard his name in 20 years. I woke up and I was in tears. I felt so bad about how I picked on this poor kid. And I'm like, and I had become a Christian since then. So my heart was really, really soft at that time.
Yeah.
Like the Holy Spirit really softened the hardness that I had in my heart. He softened me up. And I was crying, and I got in the car, and it was still bothering me while I was driving my mother. And I was driving down to Walgreens with my mother, and I was telling her the story about Michael, and I had a dream about him, and how I was so mean to him when we were little, and how sorry I was. And my mother goes, it's okay. She goes, you were just a kid. You got to forgive yourself. Well, we were walking into Walgreens, and the electric sliding doors, when you step, the door automatically opens and you walk in. And my mother walked in first, and I walked in second. And as I walked in, this guy was coming out, and he bumped into me. And I go, oh, I'm so sorry. Forgive me. And he goes, oh, don't worry about it. He turned around, and it was Michael.
Oh, my God.
I go, Michael? He goes, Joey. I go, Joey, how you doing? He goes, I'm good. I go, you look great. He has like Hollywood hair, very handsome guy. He grew up. He became a man. I hadn't seen this as little kids, like 12. And I says, hey, Mike. I go, I'm really sorry about how I treated you when we were little. I go, I got picked on in my house. My brother and sister used to beat me up, and I took it out on you in school. I'm really sorry. I go, please forgive me, Mike. I go, you were always a good kid, and I just misunderstood. And he goes, Joe, it's okay. I was almost in tears talking to this kid because I was like practically still in that mode, telling my mother the story.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's okay. It's all right. I forgive you, man. I go, all right. I go, God bless you, brother, and God bless your family. And that was it. And he left.
What?
I wrote about him in the book. Now, he hadn't read the book yet. And years later on Facebook, he reached out to me. And I said, hey, Mike, how you doing, brother? And a friend requested him. We became friends. And I said, hey, we should get together. I said, I'm getting together with some of the kids we went to school with. I go, why don't you come with me? So he came out with me.
Yeah.
And we went out, and we had a blast. All the guys loved seeing him. And we became very good friends. But the point of the story is I had a dream that I saw Michael. Now, I don't know, did God put him in my mind, knowing I was going to bump into him, and that if I didn't have that dream, I would have just bumped into him and not thought twice about it?
Right.
I don't know. What I do know is he was probably thinking about me in that moment when he came to Malden, because he lives in New Hampshire.
Okay.
And he was probably thinking about me in that moment, and that lit up the other end of my connection to him in my dream, and I started thinking about him in my dream and woke up what came out of my mind. I was supposed to run into him that night.
Yeah.
That's the point. And it's quantum entanglement. Now, whether God did that directly or whether it happened scientifically, the way God created mankind and he created the world and the energy of the world, and it just kind of happened that way. I can't really explain it, but I can tell you this: I'm glad that it did, because he's one of my best friends to this day.
It's a very powerful story, like you said. Regardless of how it came to be, that's incredibly powerful and an emotional story for sure.
He came out the other night. And met me at Burton's. Burton's is a restaurant bar in a local town where we live, and he met me there. He shows up with a bag. I go, "What's this?" He goes, "It's your birthday gift. I haven't seen you. I wanted to give it to you." And I opened it up, and I was sitting with a couple of other friends of mine that happened to be there. And I pull it out, and it's a bottle of I think it was Whistle Pig.
Okay.
Whistle Pig whiskey.
Yep.
Kentucky bourbon. And I had my name emblazoned on the bottle, Joey Voices. I went, "Oh my God." And I'm a big Donald Trump guy. And so he gave me a big Donald Trump bottle opener.
Wow.
And I started laughing. I go, "This is the best gift I ever got in my life." I go, "This is great. Look at this." Everybody was cracking up laughing. I started doing my Trump impression. It was really, really funny. And later on that night, we cracked it open and had a couple of shots,
That's so cool. What a great gift, right? But
he didn't have to do that, but it showed you what kind of a heart the kid has.
Yeah.
And I was laughing about it because I said to my friend, another kid that we grew up with, I told him the story about how I ran into Mike. And I had a dream about him. And my friend joked around. He goes, "Listen, he just crossed you off his hit list because he ran into you that night." He goes, "You're lucky you ran into him, because he was probably involved in looking for you to kill you." And I started laughing. Shut up.
And you're preemptively saved your life, man. Right?
Yeah.
You got ahead of it, man. You got ahead of it. That's awesome.
But actually, Michael. Now, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm an unenrolled independent voter.
Yep.
I'm just a Christian, and I'm right of center politically. I'm not radical one way or the other.
Sure.
So Michael was a Republican state representative for the state of New Hampshire for 4 terms.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you would never know that. But he was actually a really good representative too. He did a good job. Like, he spearheaded some stuff, some really good bills up there, He did a good job. And then the Liberals came in and took over.
Yep.
And they kind of ousted him. They got him voted out.
That's
but what are you going to do? He wasn't mad about it. He goes, "It just is what it is. It was just my time."
Yeah, it's cyclical. Cyclical at times.
Yeah,
so
it's cyclical, 100%.
So, Joey,
which is fine.
If our listeners, they want to get your book, they go to your webpage, right, for your book as well?
If they go to Amazon and type in Joey Noon book.
Yep.
Joey Noon. My last name is Noon. It's spelled no one. Noone. No one. Joey Noon. Joey Noon book. And the book is called "Good Things Are Supposed to Happen to You."
Yep.
Do you believe that?
I do. I do. I think you and I.
Some people don't. A lot of people want to believe that, but they subconsciously don't. They have a hard time with it because psychologically they're basing it on the things that have happened to them up to this point. But what they have to understand is the reason these things happen to them up to this point is because of their thought patterns. And if they can change their thought patterns and give themselves a chance to reverse it and flip the script, then they'll see that that's true.
Yep. I think you and I before we were talking, I think we were talking, off air, if you will, mindset.
Yeah.
Right? Like how important mindset is.
100%. You don't get what you are. I mean, you don't get what you want in life. You get what you are. And you are what you become. And the only way you can become something is to understand the principle of it and say, what am I believing about myself, the world, and my place in the world? And how can I change that? And if I can look at what I actually believe about life and say, do I really believe that? And do I want to believe that? Is that necessarily true? Or can I change that belief? And if you can get to the root core of that belief and change it, then everything about your life is going to change. Everything. Yeah. I told you with women, the mistake I made was I always needed a woman.
Yep.
And finally, I troubleshot that, and I said, what's the problem? Why am I attracting these types of women in my life? And I was like, okay, I don't need a woman. I'm perfectly fine being by myself with my dog, even if it means for the rest of my life. Once I resigned myself to that, and I didn't need a woman anymore, like I need a woman, I need to be married, I need to have a girlfriend. That was a desperation that I didn't realize I had and was giving off, an energy I was giving off, that women can smell that like a shark smells blood in the water. Yeah. And so I didn't realize I was giving that energy off. And once I got down to the root cause of what was happening, and I changed it, and I said, I don't need a woman. I don't need anybody. I'm perfectly fine being by myself with my dog, even if it means for the rest of my life. In fact, I give advice to people. I go, look, if you want to find true love, get a dog. I say, a dog will never wake up one day and decide he doesn't love you anymore.
Yep, 100%. And our mutual friend Neil Mulcahy with his dog. What a beautiful dog he has. He has this yellow lab puppy, and it's
100%.
You could see the joy it's brought to him. Like he's so happy, with his
That's
dog.
right.
And you're right, man.
I love it. I love it.
I love.
And that's dogs. My point. My point is, I don't mean to cut you off. I want to finish my point. My point is, when I got to the root cause of what was wrong in my life in that regard with women, and when I found out the principle, I changed my belief consciously. I said, I no longer believe that. Yeah. I no longer need a woman. And that was a very simple change in my life. But it was profound, had a profound effect because my energy shifted and women started coming out of the woodwork. I mean, out of the woodwork. Because now I just didn't care anymore. I was indifferent now. Yeah. And then I told you, indifference is your best weapon in the game because women respond to it. When a guy doesn't care, they want to know why he doesn't care. Like when you're in a room filled with men and there's a couple of women, like there's one woman in a room and you have a bunch of guys and they're all groveling over her. And you're the one that's not even looking her way. Who do you think she's going to be looking at?
Yeah, the mysterious
she's
guy.
Gonna be looking,
the mysterious guy.
She's looking at the guy that ain't looking at her because she's going, why isn't he looking at me? What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Right?
So cool.
That's the difference. And that's the principle that you can take and use in any area of your life, whether it be making money, whether it be success in your business, whatever it may be. Whatever you're doing wrong, you can troubleshoot it right down to the root cause, and you can flip the script by just changing your belief about it.
Yep.
And you can consciously do it. Once you do it and decide to do it, your energy will change and your results will change.
See, I told everyone out there listening, this guy has multiple layers, man. From the Vegas show to a seminary graduate to an author. And then probably another thing that a lot of people don't know about you is your extensive knowledge with crypto. Something else you're very passionate about, correct?
Yes. I have, I'm a big crypto guy. I love cryptocurrency. And I actually missed out, like a lot of people did, on the internet stocks of the 90s. And I remember saying, I was in my bed one day praying. I said to the Lord, I go, Father, please. I go, I don't want to miss out on the next big thing. I go, please show me about Bitcoin. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't realize there were multiple cryptocurrencies. I didn't even know Bitcoin was a cryptocurrency. I hadn't even heard that word before. But I asked him to show me, and he sent me where I was working at the time, down to a different location. And he put me with this guy, and the guy knew everything about Bitcoin and crypto. And the guy taught me everything about it. And once I learned about it, I understood it, and I started investing in it. And everybody was laughing at me. They're going, oh, it's going to zero. It's not worth anything. Because they didn't understand what I understood, because they couldn't be bothered to research it. And what they were doing was just regurgitating what they were hearing on the news. Yep. Oh, well, Warren Buffett says this, and Warren Buffett says that. I go, well, Warren Buffett can kiss my you-know-what.
Right.
Because Warren Buffett's the same guy in the 90s that was telling people to sell all their internet stock because it was going to zero. Meanwhile, he knew and had inside information that every house was going to have a home computer and was going to need AOL for dial-up, and they were going to need Microsoft for their software. He knew all of it.
Yeah.
But he was buying up everything everybody was selling. He was buying up on the back end.
Yep.
And you get people like Jamie Dimon from J.P. Morgan today doing the same thing with crypto. Telling everyone it's going to zero, it's not worth anything. Anyone in my company that buys it's going to be fired. Meanwhile, he's buying it up on the back end as much as he can. And that's what they do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand. They can learn about it in a very quick minute. All you got to do is go to YouTube and type in blockchain. It'll teach you all about the blockchain in about 5 to 8 minutes. If you type in XRP is like the new Bitcoin. It was invented by the inventors of Bitcoin as a better version of Bitcoin. And you'll learn all about it and what its utility is. And look up the company Ripple. That company is the company that owns all the XRP. And they're the ones that control it. And they're the ones that are taking over for the Swift banking system, the Ripple ledger on the blockchain. And I'll give you an example. On the Swift banking system, it's the central banking system that was the language of the banks at the time. It's archaic, outdated, and obsolete. If I wanted to send you $10 million, and I use that number because it's a big number, and the higher the number, the longer it takes for you to receive that money. Yep. So I want to send you $10 million. It's going to take you 5 to 7 business days to receive that money because the Swift banking system has to make sure the money's there.
Yeah. And
that takes time. And it takes a person to process it manually. Well, on the blockchain, there's this new thing called the quantum financial system. It's the new quantum financial system that's going online this summer. Now, when I say the word quantum, I mean all the banks will be connected, like your cable boxes in your house. If you want to watch a movie, if you're watching a movie down in your man cave, and you pause the movie and you're going up to bed and you go up into your bedroom, you can pick that movie back up on the box in your bedroom.
Yep.
Why? Because the boxes are connected quantum in a quantum way on the system within the box. So the new banking system on the blockchain, all the banks worldwide are going to be connected on a quantum way. So if I send you $10 million and I'm at TD Bank and you're at Eastern Bank, the banks are connected. So instantaneously, you get the money within 3 seconds for a fraction of a penny, no matter how big the transaction is. You get that money right away.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. And so this is why there's only one company that was designed and that is able to take over for Swift. And that company is Ripple. And Ripple, the Ripple ledger, all assets, hard and soft, are going to be tokenized on the Ripple ledger. And Ripple's taking over the world. They have their tentacles in every country in the world. 80% of the banks in Japan are already using XRP for cross-border payments.
Wow.
It's going to be 100% before you know it.
Yep.
Bank of America has been using XRP for cross-border payments for the last 2 years with no problems
That's
at
tremendous.
all.
Tremendous.
It's very tremendous. And if you want to learn about Ripple, want to learn about blockchain, you want to learn about XRP, look those things up on YouTube and you'll learn in 5 to 8 minutes about each one of those things if you want to learn about it. And then if you want to invest, then at least you'll have an education on what you're investing in.
For sure. And like
and
we
why?
said earlier, I think, and that's the thing, people sometimes are a little hesitant about new things or something that they're not comfortable with, right? And I think you got to get out of your comfort zone sometimes to be successful. Change your mind.
And I got people that get in my car, because I told you I have a black customer. So I have people that get in my car, and they work in the financial world. And I talk to them about crypto, and they don't know anything about it. I go, how is your company not teaching you about crypto? How are they not? I mean, don't you understand that the world is about to change, like this summer? Like we're switching over to a new banking system, a quantum financial fintech banking system. Like, don't you know that? A lot of these people don't even know that. Crazy. It's going to hit them right between the eyes. It's coming.
That's something.
And the people who aren't invested in XRP are going to miss out, because XRP is trading right now at $2.35 a coin. Now, there's 58 billion coins in the circulating supply, which means That's a lot of that. That's a circulating supply. It's available for retailers and institutional investors to buy if they want to.
Sure.
What I think is happening right now, and this is what I heard, and it makes sense. Ripple is allowing institutional investors, investment firms like BlackRock, Fidelity, Blackstone, Bank of America, all these big investment firms that are, holding, they're wealth management firms is what they are for their wealthy clients.
Yep.
They're promising them on a pre-sale so much of this circulating supply of XRP, so that when the ETF gets passed and approved by the SEC, they're going to, the circulating supply is going to dwindle from 58 billion probably down to 3 billion.
Yep.
So I think that's the real circulating supply. We just don't know it yet.
Right.
And once that happens, what do you think that's going to do to the price of XRP? Like almost overnight.
It's going to go through the roof.
It's going to skyrocket to like $10,000 a coin.
That's remarkable.
And if you have 1,000 of those coins, you got $10 million now. See what I mean?
Yep.
So people don't understand that because they don't understand what I understand. But I've been studying for 5 years. And I'm not the smartest guy in the room when it comes to crypto, but I know more than most people because most people don't know what crypto is.
Right.
But I do know enough to be able to teach the average person what I'm telling you right now. If you bought just 1,000 of them for $2,300, which is what it would cost you to buy 1,000 of them at $2.30 a coin, even when it goes to $100, which they're saying they think definitely it's going to happen by the end of the year, you're going to have $100,000. That's a really huge return on a minimum investment of $2,300.
That's it, right? When you think about return on investment, it wouldn't get
what I'm
much better
saying.
than that. So,
and then you can take out your initial investment and play with the house's money,
right,
and let it ride. So it goes to $1,000. Then you have $1 million. Then you let it ride to $10,000.
Yep.
I think by 2028, I don't even think it's going to take that long. You're going to see $10,000 a coin XRP. And you're hearing me say it right now on your radio show.
Yep, and people that miss out will be able to go back and listen to it.
You're going to go back and you're going to go, I'm going back and I'm going to replay what this guy said.
Yep, which will be remarkable.
And I'm not the smartest guy in the room, like I said. I just happen to know a lot about a few things. Quantum entanglement, the Bible, and crypto. And the only reason I know it is because I'm obsessed with it. Yep. And when you become obsessed with something, you research it to the nth degree.
Yep.
And you're going to know more than the average person. I just have a passion for it, and I love it.
Yeah, and it shows. It comes through, man. Like we said, this is a guy with multiple layers. Joey voices, man. This guy can kill it.
Thank you.
Vegas show. Some of the knowledge he's dropped on an author. Seminary graduate, master. I mean, what more can we say about you, my man?
I appreciate the call, man. I appreciate you having me on your show. It's an honor, man. I can't wait to come to Plattsburgh, brother.
We are definitely looking for you, to get up here in person, and we're gonna see if we can't get you at the Strand so all the people up here can enjoy that show in person, man. I think that would be absolutely awesome. It would be.
I heard Plattsburgh is a place where men are men and the sheep are scared. Is that true? Is that?
Well, we're as we talked about mindset, we're trying to change that mindset, but we'll see. We'll see if we get it there, man. But
you'll get it there. Get it there. I'm just joshing you.
No, I hear you, brother. But Joey, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. I mean, I can't thank you enough. I mean, it's just been a tremendous conversation that I know our listeners are going to love, and we definitely look forward to getting you up here and having you on again, man.
Frank, thank you very much, and God bless your family, man, and God bless all the people in Plattsburgh.
Hey, God bless you, brother. Thank you so much. And
all right, we'll
talk soon, man. And everybody, once again, this has been Players, Pars, and Pints. This episode is brought to you by the Barracks Golf Course, Plattsburgh, New York. You can find us on Facebook for a tee time. Give us a call, 518-566-7150, and we're going to talk to everyone soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to the Players, Pars, and Pints podcast. Make sure to subscribe and check back for future episodes. Also, make sure to follow us on X and Facebook at Pars and Pints. Until next time, everybody,